มามุมไบต้องมองว่าเศรษฐกิจภาพรวมอินเดียนี่เป็นยังไงบ้างครับล่าสุดนี่พอมีนายกรัฐมนตรีคนใหม่นเรนทราโมดีหลังจากการเลือกตั้งเดือนพฤษภาคมที่ผ่านมาต้องถือว่าเป็นปรากฏการณ์ประวัติศาสตร์การเมืองของอินเดียทีเดียวครับเพราะว่าพรรคฝ่ายค้าน BJP ที่มีนายโมดีเป็นแกนนำเนี่ยสามารถโค่นตระกูลการเมืองการทีของอินเดียที่มีมาหลายสิบปีเป็นตระกูลที่ใครต่อใครไม่เคยเชื่อเลยครับว่าจะสามารถถูกโค่นโดยชาวบ้านอย่างนายโมดีได้เศรษฐกิจของอินเดียมีปัญหามาหลายปีครับอัตราโตที่เคยโตประมาณ 9% 7% เนี่ยมาร่วงลงมาเหลือแค่ 4.5% เพราะว่ามีอัตราเงินเฟ้อที่สูงมากมีประเด็นเรื่องคอร์รัปชันแม้กระทั่งระดับรัฐมนตรีจนกระทั่งว่าชาวบ้านมีความรู้สึกว่าไม่สามารถไว้วางใจได้แต่ผลการเลือกตั้งที่พรรคคองเกรสของโซเนียการจีซึ่งมีลูกชายราหุลการจีเป็นทายาทเนี่ยแพ้ราบคาบแพ้ยังไม่มีใครคิดว่าจะเป็นไปได้พรรค BJP ได้ที่นั่งที่มีเสียงมากพอจะตั้งรัฐบาลพรรคเดียวเกินความคาดหมายจริงๆฉะนั้นอินเดียกำลังจะเปลี่ยนแปลงครับอินเดียมีนายโมดีมาเป็นนายกรัฐมนตรีเพราะว่ามีคนที่เท้าติดพื้นเนี่ยมาเป็นผู้นำเศรษฐกิจกระเตื้องขึ้นทันทีครับเพราะว่าอารมณ์ความรู้สึกของคนทั่วไปก็คือว่าจะมาพัฒนาให้เศรษฐกิจกระเตื้องขึ้นได้โดยเฉพาะนายโมดียืนยันเลยครับว่าคนจนนั้นจะต้องเป็นวาระสำคัญของรัฐบาลใหม่รัฐมนตรีต่างประเทศสหรัฐจอห์นแคร์รีเนี่ยมาเยือนอินเดียเมื่อเร็วๆนี้นั่งจับเข่าคุยกับนายโมดีบอกว่าเนี่ยอินเดียมีประเด็นเรื่องที่ให้เงินอุดหนุนการเกษตรมาก WTO องค์การการค้าโลกกำลังจะจัดการนะโมดีบอกว่าไงทราบไหมครับนายกรัฐมนตรีใหม่อินเดียบอกว่าไม่สนใจเพราะว่าเป้าหมายของผมคือคนจนที่สุดของอินเดียนั้นจะต้องเป็นวาระต้นๆของประเทศฉะนั้นนี่คืออินเดียวันนี้ครับ
Ambassador Chinga, how has India changed since you got a new Prime Minister?
Well, I would say that the change is very, very perceptible. You've been to Bombay recently,
Yes.
and you've seen the sort of buoyancy that is there, and the mood, I think, is one of optimism.
Yes.
For the first time, we have a government that has been elected with an overwhelming majority,
Right.
which means after 30 years, we have a government which enjoys an absolute majority in parliament, which is, I think, the mandate that the people have given Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his government, which is really for development, good governance and stability. And they felt that coalition governments had their limitations. Governments could not take decisions that they really wanted to take in the national interest, and that you needed to vote in someone who could enjoy a mandate which would deliver the aspirations of the people of India, particularly the younger people. Because we have to remember that India is a country of young people.
Right.
Over 60% of our population is below 35 years. 150 million, which is almost 1/4 of the entire electorate in India, are people who are voting for the first time ever, between 18 and 23 years of age. And these are the people who determine what the country is going to be, and they're the future of the country.
What attracted the young people to Mr. Modi?
I think the important thing for the young people was they wanted someone who had a proven competence of being able to deliver on inclusive growth, on stability, on development. In other words, meeting the aspirations of the younger people. Economic aspirations, the aspirations for stability, the aspirations for India to take its rightful place in the international center stage. All of this is a representation or manifestation of the success that the BJP enjoyed in the last elections.
The huge loss suffered by the Congress party, run by the Gandhi family, indicates the end of the Gandhi dynasty in Indian politics?
Well, in politics there is no end.
Only new beginning.
There are only new beginnings. Like the phoenix, you can rise from the ashes. But the fact of the matter is that the Congress has been in government for 10 years now,
Yes.
and I think people did feel the need for a change, and a change that would be for the better. India.
What a big loss.
Yes, I think even Congress may not have expected that they would face such a debacle
Yes.
in the elections.
Yes.
But it also reflects the trend in India that I think people are tired of having governments that are ineffective in terms of the mandate that they've been given. People of India realize that you need to empower a government that can develop, that can let's say deliver on the expectations and aspirations. And I think unfortunately because of various reasons,
Yes.
the sense was that the delivery was not there. And now, of course, because of the fact that you have a government who's headed by a person with a very proven track record of competence, of service delivery, of economic growth in the state of Gujarat, where he was chief minister for the last 13 or 14 years, there is already a sense of optimism, which is important because, if you talk about investor confidence,
Yes.
you talk about an environment conducive for business and growth, that sense of optimism is very, very essential. And as you can see, after the elections, the rupee has strengthened, the stock market has shot up,
Yes.
and I think generally the assessment globally from your normal economic growth companies that predict economic growth, whether it's Moody's, Bloomberg, it's the various international organizations that forecast growth and economic development, all been unanimous that the fundamentals of the Indian economy and the potentials for growth are enormous after the election of the new government.
Some critics said the Congress party lost touch with the people. You agree with that?
It's a little difficult to go into the reasons for anyone's success or otherwise. But if you see the results, I think it's apparent that there was a lack of contact with the feelings and sentiments of the vast majority of the people, which I have to say, on the contrary, has been fully understood and exploited by the current leadership, by the government of the day led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They understood what the younger people wanted, what the vast majority of Indian people wanted, and they also used the various tools at their disposal to reach out and to be able to both listen to and to communicate to the people of the country. Which means that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been quite innovative in his use of social media, for example.
Yes.
And he's been on record saying that this is the media that enables me to reach out to people and to understand what they want. If you see the use of 3D hologram displays for the first time, he had over 3,000 rallies in which he was not physically present.
Wow.
But there were 3D hologram displays of his in which he addressed the people. The message was focused. If you have the 3D hologram display in a rural hamlet, he's addressing people in that hamlet, but he cannot be everywhere himself.
So it's not really TV, it's a hologram.
It's a hologram. It's a 3D hologram, and that is a representation of the person himself.
Yes.
It is like him addressing you.
Yes.
His speech is focused on the people who are listening, because it's not a generic speech. But at the same time, it enables him to be omnipresent all over. And at a time of election campaign, he's able to be, let's say, to reach out to people in different parts of the country, which you couldn't normally do. So it's absolutely brilliant the way that has been used. Twitter has been used. He has 33 million followers on Twitter, I understand.
Yes.
There are 200 million people who are on Facebook in India. There are 1 billion cell phone users. So this is the way that you can reach out to people. You can reach directly to people. And this has been an innovative way of fighting elections in India.
Yeah.
And certainly it has, I think, borne good results. And I don't mean it is just the technology that is used. It's actually a way to understand the pulse of the people, which is really to answer your question,
Right.
essentially, that how do you understand, how do you reach out to the people?
That's right.
อินเดียนี่มีพลังมหาศาลนะครับ เป็นสมาชิกของ G20 ขณะเดียวกันเนี่ยก็รวมกลุ่มกับจีน รัสเซีย บราซิล แอฟริกาใต้ ที่จะเป็น BRICS ที่จะเป็นการรวมกลุ่มเพื่อจะคานอำนาจของสหรัฐและยุโรปทีเดียวครับ อินเดียมองจีนแต่ก่อนนี้อาจจะเป็นศัตรูกันมีข้อขัดแย้งกันหลายอย่างแต่ระยะหลังนี้มีความเข้าใจกันมากขึ้น ปัญหาชายแดนก็ลดน้อยถอยลง ถ้าจีนกับอินเดียรวมตัวกันลองวาดภาพสิครับว่าจะเป็นพลังมหาศาลสามารถที่จะคานอเมริกาโลกตะวันตกได้มากเพียงใด ถึงกับมีคนตั้งชื่อใหม่ว่าถ้าจีนกับอินเดียจับมือกันจีนผลิตฮาร์ดแวร์อินเดียผลิตซอฟต์แวร์จะมีพลังใหญ่ที่ชื่อว่าชินเดียครับไชน่าบวกอินเดียแล้ววันนี้ผมมาที่นี่เนี่ยเพื่อจะมาเจาะลึกถึงความเป็นอินเดียทันสมัยวันนี้ท่ามกลางความเปลี่ยนแปลงครั้งประวัติศาสตร์ทางการเมือง ตั้งแต่รากหญ้าไปจนถึงระดับมหาเศรษฐีของอินเดียจะต้องพร้อมจะปรับตัวสำหรับการแข่งขันครั้งสำคัญครั้งนี้แหละครับ
We would like to see Prime Minister Modi in ASEAN in person.
I have no doubt that the ASEAN summit will have our Prime Minister. And we're talking about the ASEAN India summit, which is an annual feature.
Yes.
We'd certainly have our Prime Minister represented, and it is a matter of time before the focus on ASEAN would become much more stronger.
So, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, what can we expect from India in terms of closer relationship with ASEAN, in brief?
Well, I think we would have to certainly look at how we can take that relationship. Now, I have to clarify that this is something that I am only talking at levels of let's say, looking at what we can do, the potentials.
Yes.
But policy decisions have to be taken and are yet to be
Sure.
let's say, articulated.
Yes.
But there is the possibility of assessing the current relations with ASEAN and to working with the ASEAN leadership to see how we can take it to the next level.
Yes.
The Prime Minister talked about a new paradigm. He talked about partnership for prosperity when it comes to our neighbors.
Yes.
Now, ASEAN is in our extended neighborhood. We already enjoy common maritime and land boundaries with some ASEAN countries, including Thailand.
Yes.
How we can take that relationship to the next level is something that the leadership has to sit down and work out.
Yes.
But there are many ideas, and most important of which is trade and economic aspects. There is the issues of common security related aspects, which is basically ensuring that the shipping lanes are open, ensuring that we tackle together issues relating to piracy, to let's say maritime surveillance, to even issues like marine pollution. There are a whole gamut of issues that we can deal with.
Yes.
Cultural cooperation, people-to-people contacts. If you look at Thailand, 1 million Indian tourists visit Thailand every year. There are about 170 flights between Indian cities and Thailand every week.
Yes.
But we are also talking about road connectivity. India, Thailand and Myanmar are working on a trilateral highway that will provide us seamless connectivity from India to Southeast Asia. That means from Moreh on the Indian border through Myanmar into Mesot in Thailand.
Okay.
So by 2016, that should be complete. So we should, in principle, be able to move goods and people, even by the land route. Thailand is talking about developing the Dawei port. That will be an important, let's say, linkage between our ports in peninsular India, including Chennai, and this part of the Bay of Bengal. We are both members of the Bay of Bengal initiative, which is BIMSTEC. Again, a very, very important partnership where the Bay of Bengal becomes increasingly important in terms of cooperation that our countries can sit down and work together on. So I think we will have to look at what are the main potentials and where we can let's say call upon the resources of our respective countries and the time of our leadership to take that into a new paradigm. And I think again from our side the Prime Minister has already announced that he is looking at a new paradigm in foreign policy objectives and relations with our neighbors. So this would be in keeping with those broad objectives.
Well, IT is one of India's strong points. Perhaps, as far as bilateral relations is concerned, Thailand could benefit from Bangalore, from India's overall high level of sophistication in technology. You see how we can learn from you, we can benefit from what you have learned.
You see, one of the things that we are working on is a free trade agreement with Thailand. And that free trade agreement is what we call ASEAN Plus.
Yes.
So that means we already are concluding a free trade agreement with ASEAN, but with Thailand we can take it even further. And we are talking about cooperation in the services sector. And if we are able to conclude this agreement in both goods and services,
Yes.
it will give us opportunities, new opportunities in the ICT sector, which were hitherto not available to us. So I think you're right. I think in the ICT sector, both countries are able to conclude the negotiations that are ongoing. Then we would be able to see enormous potentials of cooperation in the information technology area. Information technology really means not just the technology, but also human resource potential. You know,
Right.
you exchange
Right.
people, you pool your resources, and I think there is a lot of scope there. But at the same time, we have offered Thailand the possibility of investing in infrastructure development in India. That is a big priority for the new government. We intend to focus on the development of high-speed rail corridors, economic corridors which involve both road and rail,
Yes.
development of ports. Thailand has a very developed infrastructure. You have companies that specialize in infrastructure development. So we've invited Thai companies to come and invest in the infrastructure development in India. And in fact, our commercial wing in the embassy has already circulated projects on which we've floated tenders, public tenders,
I see.
in which we've invited companies to quote based on a PPP model, public-private partnership model, as transparent a model as possible, in which
This is for Thai investors into India.
we are encouraging Thai investors. Obviously, investments are open from any part of the world. But since we have a mandate for Thailand, we see that you have not just an excellent infrastructure throughout your country, but you also have companies that are specialized in infrastructure development. We have certainly reached out to your infrastructure development companies and said, do
I
invest
see.
in India. I also understand that Thailand is a partner country for Vibrant Gujarat, which is a very, very important economic event in that part of the country in 2015. And that lots of initiatives are being taken in that respect. So we would like to look at every possible area of economic cooperation with Thailand, including tourism promotion, because
Yes.
we believe that while 1 million Indians come to Thailand, and the potential is much more depending on the incentives that are there, but we can also attract Thai tourists to go to India beyond the Buddhist circuit, which is again a very, very important area of
Yes.
tourism. But there are so many other areas in India which offer
Especially
the
with a weak rupee.
potentials. With rupee has strengthened a bit, but
A
I
bit,
think
but still,
I think the Thai
Weaker
baht
than
is,
before, right? Used to be what, about almost 1-to-1, but now what's the latest exchange rate? Rupee baht?
well, it's approximately 1 to 2.
1 to 2, yes.
1 to 2. That means 1 baht, Thai baht is equivalent to 2 rupees.
Yes,
But the rupee, if you will recall, was about 68 to a dollar.
yes.
It is now less than 60. So the
Okay.
rupee has strengthened as well. But then
Right.
the Thai baht has also strengthened.
Right.
So both our currencies have been fairly strong.
So you should get more tourists from Thailand.
We certainly would like to see more tourism from Thailand, and I think the potentials are.
How many
there.
Thais visit India officially
We issue about roughly 100,000 visas every year.
every year?
And,
Not enough.
Not enough. I think the potentials are much more. And if you look at the opportunities, there are
Yes.
170 flights a week, and
Yes.
the fares are extremely competitive.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential for Thai tourists to go to places like Jammu and Kashmir,
Yes.
to go to Goa, to go
Yes.
to Kerala,
Yes.
to go to northeastern India.
Right.
Sikkim.
Right.
There are lots of places that that Thai tourists could look at, which would give them a change from what you have, because you have excellent tourism potentials here.
Oh, yes.
But diversity is what it really calls for, and I think India offers that diversity, which is promising for tourists that would go to Thailand.